We have a special, something very special.
Coming back from my arm. Hey, how y'all doing? Are y'all having fun? Aren't they wonderful? Well, y'all seem like you're warmed up. You're ready for some stories. Are you ready to hear some stories? Because I have some stories for you.
I bet you do.
Oh, they are nasty, nasty little stories. They're going to warm the cockles of your tasteless little hearts.
Oh.
Actually, these are the stories of the late and great Miss Sophie Tucker. Oh. Anyone, Sophie Tucker? Oh. Go ahead, applaud the old girl. She's gone, but she's not forgotten.
Uh-oh.
At least not by me. She would tell you to kiss my tuchus and plant a tree for Israel. Although what one had to do with the other one, I have really no idea. Anyway, Sophie Tucker, here are her stories. I will never forget it, you know. I was in the backyard hanging up my laundry one day, and my girlfriend Clementine peeked over the fence. She said, Soph. She always calls me Soph. She said, Soph, how's come you always know when to hang out your laundry? You don't ever get caught in the rain like the rest of us. I said, Clementine, it's a very simple proposition. Every morning when I wake up, I roll out of bed, and I look at my boyfriend, Ernie. If it's hanging on the right, I know it's going to be a sunny day. If it's hanging on the left, I know it's going to rain. She says to me, Soph, well, supposing it's standing straight up in the middle. I says, Clementine, who wants to do a laundry on a day like that? It's filthy. Oh, they get better.
Oh, God.
I will never forget it, you know. One day, my boyfriend Ernie and I were listening to Father James' radio program.
Oh,
he's healing the sick. He says, if you want to be healed, put one hand on your radio and the other hand on a part of your body that you would like to be healed. So, I put one hand on the radio, and I put the other hand right on my heart.
Oh.
Ernie, he puts one hand on the radio, he puts the other hand, well, on his appendage. I said to him, Ernie, he is trying to heal the sick, not raise the dead. Well, it's true. And I meant it. Meant everyone else. I will never forget it, you know. In the height of her day, my girlfriend Clementine was one of the greatest burlesque strippers. But she hated her job. It revolted her. Every day after she performed, she would have to run off and have confession. Well, one day, right after she ran off, she forgot to put her top on. And she goes running into the church, nipples to the wind. And a young priest says to her, Madam, you cannot come into a house of the Lord like that. She said, I have a divine right. He said, well, your left isn't bad either. You've got to cover your head. Well, after confession, Clementine goes running out of the church. She slips on a banana peel, and her skirt gets caught on a nail. And she rolls all the way down the steps, and her skirt completely unravels until she's laying quite comatose and quite naked in the street. Well, a passing by motorcyclist took pity on her plight, and he took off her crash helmet, and he laid it right into her exposed groin. Well, when the doctor shows up, he took one good long look at Clementine. He said, well, we can put her in the ambulance, but first we got to get that cop out of there. I will never forget it, you know. I was having dinner the other night with my boyfriend Ernie.
Oh, no.
He says to me, Soph, he always calls me Soph. He said, Soph, if you could learn to cook, we could fire the chef. I said to him, Ernie, if you could learn to fuck, we could fire the chauffeur. And I mean,
Poor Ernie. Ernie's got the shit out of his stick.
I will never forget it, you know. For the longest time, I didn't like to wear any underwear. Used to drive my boyfriend Ernie batty. One time, I got this terrible cold. Ernie says to me, Soph, you've got a terrible cold. You've got to go to the doctor for that cold. I said to him, Ernie, all right, I'll go to the doctor. Phone him up and make the appointment. Well, unbeknownst to me, Ernie phones up the doc. He said, Doc, I'm sending Sophie to see ya. She's got a terrible cold. But the reason I'm sending her to see is she don't wear any underwear. I want you to tell her the reason she got that cold is she don't wear no underwear. Got that? Right-o, says the doc. So I, like a schmuck, go running off to the doctor. I walk into the office. He says, open your mouth and say, ah. So I open my mouth, I say, ah. He looks at my throat. He says, Soph, you ain't wearing no underwear. I said to him, Doc, you mean to tell me you can look down my throat and see I'm not wearing any underwear? He said, that's right, you're not wearing any underwear. I said, Doc, do me a favor. Look up my ass, see if my hat's on straight. Oh, some of them are groaners, folks.
Oh, no.
But you know what, I do. I like to go to the doctor. I do. Sometimes I go when I'm not sick at all. See, I like the stirrups. See, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Anyway, after one particularly great doctor visit, I go home to Ernie. I said, Ernie, guess what? The doctor says I have the constitution of a 20-year-old girl. My heart, my lungs, my liver, my eyes are all a 20-year-old girl. Ernie looks me up and down. He says, did he happen to mention your 80-year-old ass? I said, no, we didn't talk about you. I will never forget it, you know. I was having tea one day with my girlfriend Clementine, and the doorbell rang. So I go to the door, and there's a delivery boy with 24 long-stem red roses from my boyfriend Ernie. I says to Clementine, you know what this means? For the next 2 weeks, I will be flat on my back with my legs wide open. Clementine says, Soph, what's wrong with you? Ain't you got a vase? Ain't you got a vase? Oh, he likes that thing.
Oh, no. Oh, it's a terrible place for flowers. Trust me, no.
You would know.
I would know.
Anyway. Never forget it, you know. I was in the underground parking garage of my fabulous condominium in Boca Raton. When all of a sudden, the garage door opens up, and in drives the most gorgeous silver Mercedes I have ever seen. And it parks. I go walking over, and out steps the most handsome silver-haired man I've ever seen. I said, wow, aren't you quite the looker? Look at those face, those arms, that stomach, those legs. Why, I even bet you have a beautiful... Nothing? Anyway. He says to me, yes, many have written home to say so. I said, is that right? He said, yes, that's right. I said, I would love to see it for myself. Well, long story short. He zips his fly and he pulls out his penis. I hold it in my hand. He was a very tall man. I said to him, don't you ever park in my space again. That happened to you, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I will never forget it, you know. I was at the grocery store the other day buying a few odds and ends, and as I was checking out, I was looking for a suitable bag boy to walk me to the curb. After we were done, we were walking out of the grocery store, and I'm ashamed to say, I was overcome by the most terrible fit of passion and bad taste. I grabbed the bag boy. I said, young man, I have an itchy booty. He said, madam, I don't know one Japanese car from another. I will never forget it, you know. Oh, you like that, baby? Oh, he just caught up.
That was a funny. Oh, the car. It's like a Japanese car.
Itchy booty.
Yeah, yeah.
I will never forget it, you know. It was on the occasion of my girlfriend Clementine's 60th birthday.
Oh, no.
She wanted to do something rough and tough. So she decided she's going to join a motorcycle gang. So she went downtown to the roughest and toughest motorcycle gang that she could find, and she walked right up to him and she said, I'm going to join your gang. He said, look here, old lady, you can't join our gang. You have to be able to drink. She said, I throw back 9 or 10 shots of tequila every night after shooting pool with the boys. He said, but you're going to have to smoke. She said, does marijuana count? I smoke 2 or 3 doobies every night after shooting pool with the boys. Well, he was getting a little frustrated. He said, you don't understand. We're the roughest gang in the state. Lots of us have been in jail. Have you ever been picked up by the fuzz? No, she says, but I've been swung around by the tits a few times.
I bet the gang like that, yeah.
I will never forget it, you know. One time when my boyfriend Ernie was on retreat, I was getting the worst hankering for some male companionship. So off I go down to the old folks' home where I can still turn a head or two. And old Mr. Bloomberg says to me, Soph, tonight is the night we are going to have relations. So I said, fine. So that night we had relations. Afterwards, when we're basking in the glow, we're smoking our Pall Mall, he says to me, Soph, why didn't you tell me you were a virgin? I would have been much gentler with you. I said to him, why didn't you tell me you could still get it up? I'd have taken off my pantyhose. I will never forget it, you know?
No.
Wait, I forgot it. Well, you know, I'm ancient, I'm old. But I look good. Now, I will never forget it, you know? I was in the woods last night with my boyfriend Ernie. He says to me, Soph, he always calls me Soph. He said, Soph, these woods sure are dark. I wish I had a flashlight. I said to him, Ernie, so do I. You have been munching grass for the past 10 minutes. Think about it. All right, there's a little more groaners. Everybody just, there you go.
Poor Ernie.
I got a better one. I will never forget it, you know. It was on the occasion of my boyfriend Ernie's 80th birthday. He came to me and he said, Soph, he always calls me Soph. He said, Soph, I just married myself a 20-year-old girl. What do you think of that? I said to him, Ernie, when I am 80 years old, I shall marry myself a 20-year-old boy. And let me tell you something, Ernie, 20 goes into 80. A hell of a lot more than 80 goes into 20. I will never forget it, you know. I was walking down the beach one day in Atlantic City, just walking down the beach. I came across a man lying completely naked with an erection. I said to him, sir, what are you doing? He said, madam, I'm telling time. I said, well, what time is it? He looked at his erection and the shadow that it cast. He said, madam, it is 2 o'clock. I looked at my watch. I'll be damned, it was 2 o'clock. So I walked further down the beach. I came across another man lying completely naked with an erection. I said to him, sir, what are you doing? He said, madam, I'm telling time. He looked at the penis and the shadow that it cast. I said, what time is it? He said, it's 2:15. I'll be damned, it was 2:15. So I go walking farther down the beach. I came across a man. And how do I put this? He was fondling himself. Exactly. I said to him, sir, you cannot tell me that you are telling time. He said, no, I'm winding my watch. I will never forget it, you know. I was in bed last night with my boyfriend Ernie. He said to me, Soph, you got no tits and a tight box. I said to him, Ernie, get off my back.
There's a problem.
You know, my girlfriend Clementine, she always keeps me abreast of the filthiest and raunchiest jokes. The other day she calls me up and she says, Soph, what do you get when you cross a donkey with an onion? I says to her, Clementine, I have no idea what you get when you cross a donkey with an onion. She said, well, most of the time you get an onion with very large ears. But once in a very great while, when the stars are right, you get a piece of ass that's so nice it makes you want to cry. I will never forget it, you know. My girlfriend Clementine and I were walking our dogs the other day. Clementine says, Soph, I feel like having a drink. Let's go in this bar and have a drink. I says to her, Clementine, we can't go in the bar. They don't allow dogs. She says, follow my lead. She reaches into her purse and she puts on her dark glasses. She walks up to the bar. The bartender says, you can't come in here. We don't allow dogs. She said, you don't understand. This is my seeing eye dog. He said, okay, let her come in. So I follow her lead. I get out my dark glasses. I put on my glasses. I walk up to the bar. I order a drink. The bartender says, no, we don't allow dogs in here. I said, you don't understand. This is my seeing eye dog. They said, A chihuahua is your seeing eye dog? I said, they gave me a fucking chihuahua? One more on the Sophie Tucker.
Oh, no.
I will never forget it, you know.
Oh, no.
I was in bed last night with my boyfriend, Ernie. He was combing his hair, and all of a sudden a great rain of dandruff came around the bed. I said, Soph. No, he said Soph. I said Ernie. He said Soph.
Oh, no.
He said,
Oh, no. What did he say? Well, tell me, what did he say?
I said, Ernie, what is that? He said, Soph, those are the snows of Kilimanjaro. Just then he jumped off the bed, he went to the bathroom, and I hear, peace, 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 peace. I said, Ernie, what is that? He said, Soph, those are the rains of Rajapur. As he was coming back to the bed, he cut the cheese. I said, Ernie, what is that? He said, Soph, those are the winds of Krakatoa. Well, that was it for me. I grabbed my clothes, I went running for the door. He said, Soph, where are you going? I said, who could fuck in this weather? All right, ladies. 2 more things I want to say to you. First of all, this comes from my girlfriend, Clementine. Don't wait to get married. All these women now are waiting to get married till they have a career. Well, let me tell you, one old broad to the other. When you wait to get married, men are like parking spaces. All the good ones are taken, and the only thing left is the handicapped. And one last thing for you ladies. Always remember this. A man is like a tile floor. If you lay it right the first time, you can walk all over the rest